Your iPhone's on. Can you change the mic batteries real quick?
I changed the batteries.
Thank you. Oh, so you can go back downstairs, but yeah.
The title is Look at Me. And the scripture is Matthew 6, verse 1.
That's it?
That's it.
I'm going to be right now.
I've got more scriptures, but there's no need to project them.
Okay. Do you want the title to go up after the verse this time?
Yes. Doing it the other way this morning, got to put on a comment related, so.
How do we switch this thing over to AirPlay?
Thank you.
Alright, we'll just go and we're good.
Raj was
Yeah, he was finishing with the Bible study.
Praise the Lord.
iTunes off.
Other than prayer time, you guys get a noisy bunch. But anyway, maybe everybody's tired, I don't know. But we want to worship Him anyway. Why don't you stand with me tonight as we invite the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords into this place. Jesus, we thank you, Lord. Oh God, for this opportunity to gather your name. Oh, we look forward to your word tonight, oh God. We work with you in this place, Lord. We worship you, Lord. We magnify you. Hallelujah. Praise your name. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Praise you, Jesus. Hallelujah, Jesus. Hallelujah. I heard Brother Billy mention that we had 8 first-time guests today. And in case I forget, I want to remind you all to pray for those folks as the days go on. And not just those, but all those who are newcomers and that come and gone, that seed that was planted, whether it be the first time or whether it was a warning or whatever, that it will come to fruition and that these souls will be established in God's kingdom. So remember them in your daily prayers. You don't have to know by name, just those first-time guests. And well, we know at least one. We're going to sing, "Are you washing the blood?" We know at least one was today, right? Yeah. And we're going to pray that many more will be. We know that the blood has power. Worshipers will be saying, "Are you washed in the blood?"
Are
so hard for us to do. Teach me, Lord, to wait. Worship Him tonight.
Praise the Lord.
I don't know if it dropped back here or not. I was saying that he's come out like this. I don't know when I did it. Just now? I guess I did. I must have lost it.
the external mic. I'm not sure what I'm doing with this, so I actually ended up buying the proper one for it.
Yeah.
It just came in, but I forgot it was. This one's working in the meantime. So it turns in. So Lash is now not going to come up. Coverage.
Yeah, I saw it.
Just talking about it right there.
That's how it's going to be on the Newark, right? There's going to be some break dancing and all kinds of stuff going on over
I'm not
there.
getting involved. I'm not getting involved in that. Getting a little.
And that new body with no limitations.
Bluegrass and a little banjo going on. Banjo and a fiddle.
That's right.
Well, I can get down with that.
Just a few announcements I want to
That'd be up
remind
my
you
ass
In the
of.
country.
Yeah, that'd be up my alley.
One is the
That
annual
thing.
business
Some of
meeting,
the other stuff.
which is a couple of Sundays from now, and the evening service 6 p.m. Again, that's the church's opportunity to make itself accountable to you, so please come out for that. We have a Bible quiz invitational coming up February 26th and 27th, so you guys should already know who are involved in that. Make sure you get ready. Where are all the quizzes in here? I see 2 of them.
That's
Any
it.
other quizzes here? Oh, there's quite a few of them here, huh? Get ready, study hard.
Here they are.
Oh, freaking frack. All right. And she doesn't count. Men's meeting is coming up on Friday, February 19th. That's right, 19th. That's foot washing is with that as well.
Is it next Friday or
And
Friday
so you
after?
come out for that.
A week from this
And
Friday.
the new faces here, I'll have to
Yes,
explain
yeah,
that.
2 weeks from today. That's
All righty. Well,
good.
it is time to wait upon you for your offering. We have ushers tonight. 1. Thank you. Will you stand? As we ask the Lord to bless this offering, and we shall march. Should have had that music, the march on it.
Yeah, there you go.
Need some marching.
Jesus, we thank you,
Some
Lord, for this
marching.
opportunity to give back some of what you have given to us. We ask that you would bless it, Lord, and use it for the purpose of your kingdom. In Jesus' name. Amen. Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood. Power in the blood. Would you believe for the victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood.
worship Him. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. God, I worship you tonight. Worthy of our praise. Hallelujah. 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 Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. UPC. Thank the Lord. Well, here we are again at another Sunday night. Amen. I thought years ago that we'd be doing our Sunday nights on glory. But until that happens, we have work to do. And as our pastor has told us, it's been laid out, Sunday mornings are evangelistic. Wednesday evenings are kids' Bible night and teaching. And Sunday night is the night that has been kind of set aside, at least here, for training, for instruction, and for what is in Newark, the A team. If you've never thought of yourself on an A team, here you are. You come out on Sunday nights. You are part of an elite squad. And don't get big-headed. We've only got double doors back there to get through, so we have to be very careful about that. And your A squad, your A team, your ones who are out there actually doing the work will have a coach. Now, I've not been much of an athlete. My most athletic things are pushing my luck and jumping to conclusions. Those are my exercises. But I have had a lot of coaches for social studies teachers, and it's amazing to watch the Battle of Gettysburg with X's and O's. Anyhow, the coach criticizes. No, coach encourages. No, coach points out where you did something wrong and how to do it better. And the thing is that nobody faults a coach, unless they lose, but nobody faults a coach for pushing their team. And so sometimes we may come to a session like this and we may feel like, well, I got pushed, I got criticized, I got things pointed out tonight. Well, that's good, because that just makes the team better. It's not we're against what you're doing, it's just let's figure out a way to do it better. Let's have, if we've got a bad attitude, let's figure a way to get a better attitude. If we're not approaching things properly, then let's figure out a way and practice. You know, if I ran up from the bottom of the bleachers to the top of the bleachers and down, I don't see why I'd have to do that 15 more times. I know what's there. You know? But it's not about finding out what's there. It's not about discovering the bleachers. It's about doing something for me. Changing something within me, strengthening my leg muscles or whatever. And so I say that tonight, not because I'm going to criticize anything, although there may be some pointers in here that I would hope that the Holy Ghost would speak to you about if you have the need in that direction. But just just for the general thing of Sunday nights, of coming and hearing, and maybe we get a little nudge in our spirit, you need to work on that, or this is something where you can be improved. So now I'll start preaching, okay? And let me start with a scripture in Matthew chapter 6, and just one verse, verse number 1. Take heed, Jesus speaking, take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Hold that title, if you will, just a minute. Many years ago, we had not been in Bartlesville very long, just a few years, and a man and his family moved to a place about 70 miles from us. I had been in Bible college with him. We were both single men at the time we were in Bible college, and now, just a few years later, we have settled in. I in Bartlesville, he in Tonka City. I've been there a while, and he has just shortly arrived to start a home missions work in that town. And he and his wife, Linda, had maybe just one child at that time, maybe two, but anyhow, a little girl, somewhere maybe just a little older than Sophia. And we were over there visiting with Brother and Sister Hudson and talking with them. And the little girl's name was Gayla. And I haven't seen Gayla in 35 years, something like that. But what happened that day stuck in my mind, and you'll see here in just a moment. But Gayla wanted to talk with us. Now, we were talking with her parents, but she wanted to, particularly with me. And so I would visit with her father, and then I would turn my attention to her, and we would talk, and then in a little bit, well, I'd keep listening to her, and I'd respond to her, but I would look back to her father. And I would feel her pecking on me. Look at me. Look at me. As though these were my ears. She wanted, as many small children and us larger ones as well, want to be seen. Title, I'm ready. Look at me. Now that's not a signature there for that I want that to happen. That's what we'll be preaching about tonight. Looking at me. And yet, Jesus let us know that us being seen is not the important thing. I have heard a saying that has been in different situations accredited to philosophers. It's been accredited to various statesmen. I've heard it as being used by athletic directors and coaches. I don't know where it came from. But the gist of the matter is, the saying is that there is no telling what could be accomplished if no one were concerned about who got the credit. Now, Brother Beardsley, you're probably going to recognize a part of this because you've received it in an email some time back. But if you'll think back, it's not that long away in time from our last Christmas banquet. And I'm sure that you have been to other banquets and other times, maybe other places. And I've got some questions for you about some of those banquets that you attended as a participant. And let me ask you, first of all, how much attention did you pay to the wait staff?
It just gives that quarter turn.
They were in constant motion around the room. They were always moving and always busy. But with all of that movement, they were still not drawing attention to themselves. They were constantly moving, delivering food, removing plates, refreshing your coffee and tea and water. They, for all of their activity, were just part of the background. Let me ask you a few questions about that wait staff. That you just picked the banquet maybe last Christmas or another one, but what was the makeup of ethnicities among the wait staff? How many men were on the wait staff and how many women? In fact, how many of them were there? How many people were out there dispensing the meals and picking up the empty plates? How many men were there? How many women? Let me ask you this one. This one should be real easy. What was the ethnicity, the size? Of course, wait staff comes in all sizes. What was the ethnicity, the size, and the gender of the waiter or waitress who brought your plate to you? Do you remember?
White female, it's kind of slim.
You were there, weren't you? And you didn't notice? You see, the important thing is not who did it, but that it got done. The important thing is not that they were recognized and rewarded for doing it, but that it was delivered on time, in the proper manner, the proper place, to the proper person. You see, the wait staff a lot of times just becomes like automated wallpaper. They're moving, they're there, but you don't really notice. Now, banquets usually have other parts. A banquet will usually have a guest speaker. A couple of years back, we had a guest speaker scheduled. I was really looking forward to it.
That's right.
He, friend of mine that we've known each other for many years. When we were young men, we used to serve on the National Youth Board together. And then for some years after we got a little older, okay, a lot older, we served on the National Home Missions Directors Board, and we had a lot of similarities, starting churches, and talked about how many grandkids we have, where they were, and all of those things that you, and so I was looking forward to him coming and teaching and preaching for us in that banquet and being with us for that weekend. And I was anticipating it, and then I don't know, and I don't have to know, but something came up, something happened, and he couldn't be there. So what do you do when your guest speaker doesn't show up? Simple. You get another one. There's always somebody that'll be glad to step in as guest speaker. They don't care that they weren't first. They're just glad they're there. I would be. It's an honor to even be second. But the thing is, they're replaceable. A guest speaker, if he doesn't show up, somebody else is going to do the job, even if we've got to look over the congregation and say, you do it. But what if you can't get a wait staff? That's a nightmare, isn't it, Gary? If the wait staff doesn't show up, you see, that is a big problem. Those who are sitting at the head table may think they're important. But it's the wait staff that's really important. It's the cook who makes the banquet go or not. I know folks have made jokes about the rubber chicken circuit. But if you pay good big bucks for a banquet, you'd like something that at least tastes better than cardboard. See, the servants are really important. And what they do is they do their job, and then they fade away. They don't go around saying, look at me. Notice what I'm doing. Isn't this plate nicely placed in front of you? Hey, how about the style I had when I filled up your water glass? Worldly leadership has as one of its goals, in one way or another, a seat at the head table. I want to be up there with the big shots. And that's a pretty common goal, to attain a position of power and influence, money and peer respect. It's a major goal in this world, and that goal, that aim, that drive is consistent from the boardroom to the hood. All areas of our society, there's a scramble for first place, for leadership, for being on top, for giving the orders and telling people what to do. Worldly power is so very valuable. Now, my figures are a little out of date, but sometimes it's hard to get figures all together in a timely manner. So I'm going to go to the 2012 congressional elections. That was the last time we had a presidential election, and somebody has pulled together the figures of what it cost, what was spent to run for offices in Congress, and to the average amount that was spent to win a seat in the House of Representatives. Now this is a congressman, and his campaign, on average, spent $1,689,580 to get elected as a representative in the United States Congress. But if that seems like a lot of money, and I don't know where you came from, but to me, $1,689,000 seems like a lot of money. But if you step it up one notch and you're still in the Congress, but this time you've moved across the building to the Senate side, and there are 435 representatives and 100 senators, and the amount that was spent, the average amount that was spent for a senatorial position in 2012 was $10,476,451. So it's nearly 10 times as expensive to get elected senator as it is to get elected representative. Now here is the kicker. Here is where it gets interesting. That to be a representative, you spend over $1.5 million. To be a senator, you spend $10.5 million. And those positions pay an annual salary of $174,000 a year. Evidently, there's more in play here than just the cash. $1,600,000 for a 2-year job, guaranteed 2 years, that pays you $174,000 a year. It's not all for the money. There are some perks of leadership. There are some. Well, I'm not going to go into all the things that there could be, because I don't want to be dragged away for libeling the entire Congress. Often, particularly in politics, and often power becomes a function of name recognition. Upcoming elections, and we are in the midst of one that is extremely interesting. Yeah, it is a little strange as well, but that's part of what makes it interesting.
We're stupid, right?
But elections a lot of times are a function, who gets the office is a function of name recognition. A lot of that $1.6 million or $10.4 million is spent on getting your name out there. They produce a plethora of publicity promoting the names and accomplishments of those who are running for office. Signs decorate corners and cars, while ads fill the newspapers and the airwaves. I remember some years back, I don't know if I've told you this story. If I have, you're about to hear it again. But we had some friends in Bartlesville. He had been raised Assembly of God. She was Greek Orthodox, and they had married. And he was a staunch Republican. She kept on her piano 2 pictures of her shaking hands with John F. Kennedy when he was campaigning for president. So here's a Greek Orthodox Democrat and a former Assembly of God Republican. Married to each other. Oh, it was an interesting situation. In several directions. I asked Sheila at one time was telling me, she said her father was Greek and her mother was German. She said all the Greeks think they're Alexander the Great. Now, don't get after me about this. I'm just quoting her. She said all the Greeks think they're Alexander the Great. I said, they do? She said, we do. But there was one year that there was a particularly contested race for state senate there in Oklahoma. And Cecil and Sheila had kind of come to an agreement that they were, because the contest was so heated, that they would kind of lay back. They would go to their various meetings, but around their house he would put a sign in the yard for his candidate, and she would put a sign in the yard for her candidate, and leave it at that. I don't know that they ever told me who put up the third sign. But once that dam broke, there was no stopping it. It came to the place where people would drive by just to see the yard full of political signs for this particular race. They had them all over the yard. One side for the Democratic candidate, and the other side for the Republican candidate. And I don't even remember who won. And it probably didn't make a lot of difference. But that's name recognition. If you see the name, you see the name, you see the name, you see the name, and then you walk into the polling place, into the booth. Who are all these? Well, I recognize that name. And that's the way many times power is accumulated. There are people who have never punched a time clock, who will get up early in the morning and stand at the factory gate to shake hands and make handshake connections with the men and women who really do the work of society. And the logic seems to be, if you know me, even just from a handshake, you're more likely to vote for me. And it's all based on, look at me. Look at me. Get to know me, know something about me, recognize my name, and that way I'll have power. But Jesus said, don't do your alms before men. Don't draw attention to yourself. It's not about you. It's about the kingdom. I don't know if you realized it yet, but one of these days, somebody else is going to be sitting where you're sitting. Someone else is going to be standing where I'm standing. We will all at best be a memory. In 100 years, should the Lord tarry, it is very unlikely that anybody much older than Jewel and Renoa would be even thinking about being here. But the kingdom will still be going on. Right. Because I'm not the kingdom. I'm just part of the waitstaff. if nobody knows about me, if nobody notices me, but the kingdom progresses, that's all. That's it. That's plenty good. Politicians of all stripes, whether they be in politics or a corporation, whether they be in the neighborhood or in churches. Politicians draw attention to themselves, but Jesus operated by a completely different principle. And my way of thinking, it's vastly more important to know Jesus than it is any politician. I remember one time I had my picture taken with Sheila. She arranged it. And my member of Congress. And I don't know where the picture is. I don't know that I ever got a copy of it. But some folks would be oh so excited. I had my picture made with the congressman. Yeah. That and $5 will get you a small coffee at Starbucks. But don't forget the 5.
Right.
And Jesus, who is way more important than any politician, operated by an entirely different principle than just a momentary handshake, ads, yard signs. I know some folks do that, but that's really not the way he handled things. Philippians 2:7 tells us that he made himself of no reputation. Some folks are trying to get their name out. They're trying to get everybody to know them. Some folks say outrageous things to get noticed. Some folks try to not say outrageous things so that they get noticed in another way. But in Matthew 4:8, Jesus said to him, "See thou tell no man." Matthew 9:30, and their eyes were opened, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, "See that no man know it." Matthew 12:16, and he charged them that they should not make him known. Matthew 16:20, then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man what had happened. Matthew 17:9, and as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, "Tell the vision to no man." Mark 1:44, he saith unto them, See thou say nothing to any man. Mark 5:43, and he charged them straitly that no man should know it. These are the miracles, the works of God, the mighty things that he did, and constantly he was telling them, don't tell it. Keep it quiet. This is just between us. He was acting as waitstaff. Mark 7:36, and he charged them that they should tell no man, but the more he charged them, so much the more a great deal they published it. Yeah, people don't always do what Jesus says to do, but he said it in the end. Luke 5:14, and he charged him to tell no man. Those who would seek, I've got written here political office, but let me change that to the power of position, to the power of fame and being known. Those who would look at me, look at me, look at me, work after a different order than him who took upon him the form of a servant. It's easily said that the desire for a position is a disqualification for that position. If you want it, you're not the one for it. Well, Brother Moss, that doesn't make sense. Well, it makes as much sense as some things Jesus said. He that loses his life will gain it. And he that keeps his life will lose it. Right. If you hunger and thirst for the power, I believe I've told you of the young man who came to me many years ago and expressed his heart of a call to preach, a desire to preach. Maybe a call is not exactly the way I should have said that, but a desire to preach. And as I began to deal with him and began to talk with him and began to ask him about his experience and about what he was doing and how he was involved in this situation, and he let me know, he said, I want to be a preacher so I can tell people what to do. Well, I thought, I didn't say it, but I thought, good luck with that. You can tell them anything you want to. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it. That's the wrong reason. You see, Jesus, many times, is as concerned about why as he is about what. Not just what we did, but why we did it. Did we reach for those people, witness to them, to build ourselves up and make us look good? Oh, he's soul winner, he can really. Or did we reach for them because of a concern for their souls, for their being right with him? Sometimes to say, I want to be a preacher, especially if it's the way that fellow did it, that disqualifies you from the position of minister. I've known those who wanted an office. I remember a fellow who got into office, and he was really enjoying the perks, not financial perks, but the acknowledgement perks of being in that office. And every time it came time for him to come up for re-election, and he would pop off something that let everybody know that he really didn't have a servant's heart. In fact, one time he got up and said, my friends have told me I shouldn't say this, but, and then he went ahead and said it. I'm not saying that ambition is wrong. We should be ambitious for the King. We should be ambitious for his kingdom. But an ambition to advance the kingdom is very different than an ambition to advance ourselves. And that's what this 18 time tonight is about, to make sure I can't know your heart. I can't know your motives. I can't know any of that stuff. But just a time of examination. I've got a feeling that sometimes a coach will gather his team together and talk to them about what's in your heart. Is your heart in this game? Is you, don't go out there and be a grandstander, but do it for the team. Well, this is Team Jesus, and it's well worth doing whatever it is for it. And to do it with the right attitude. And every once in a while, we just need to, let me rephrase that. Every once in a while, I just need to step back. Why am I doing this? What's this about? Is this about him, or is this look at me, look at me, look at me? I got to have the attention on me. I once heard a saying, blessed is he that tooteth his own horn, for whosoever tooteth not his own horn, the same shall not be tooted. Usually quotes are shorter than that. There may be some places that works, running for a political office, jockeying for a corporate position, a corner office. But in the kingdom, the way up is down. The head table is not as important as the serving tray. That idea of tooting your own horn being the center of attention. It's a far cry from the attitude that Jesus displayed. John 7:18 tells us, he that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. But he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. We sing a song sometimes, to be like Jesus, to be like Jesus. On earth I long to be like him. All through life's journeys, from here to glory, I only ask to be like him. We're here tonight. The A-team has gathered. It's another time of practice, going through the plays, practicing throwing, catching the ball, running the plays, doing the drills, examining what we've done to see if there's some way we can do it better. To be like Jesus. To be like Jesus. For his kingdom. I thought it was so great, and Stephen has pointed this out. When on a Sunday, I believe it was a Sunday night, when he asked us, leave those center parking places empty. If it's Sunday morning, it's the same principle. And particularly on Sunday morning, move toward the center of the pews. Nobody came in bragging. I parked over the side. Nobody came in with it. I'm in the middle of the pew. No, we just did it. And this morning, not as an unusual thing, we had 8 first-time guests. Brother Moss, you can't draw a straight line from there to there. I don't have to, because I know a different kind of physics, a different type of geometry that goes from there through the Spirit and connects back to there. And in the natural, you may not be able to to connect it all the way. But there's a connection anyhow. It's not a matter of look at me, look at me, look at me. That wasn't Jesus' way. He healed them. And don't tell anybody. Lepers healed. Go show yourself to the priest. Moses and Elijah appear on the mountain and said, don't tell anybody about this. We're not a look at me people. We're a look at him people. Look at him. I'm going to go away. Stephen put my statistics up here one minute. Yeah. What's this? Hurrying us off? But the thing is, those are not deadlines. They're not set in stone, those dates, but they're fairly close, I'd assume. I am not a middle-aged man. Were I middle-aged, that would mean I'm living to 142. Not likely. Look at me, look at me, look at me. No, no. Because in a while, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, 15, 20 days, in the long run of things, that's all the same. I'm not going to be here. But He is. His kingdom. Why, I so like Isaiah's promise. Unto us a child is born, a son is given. Government shall be upon his shoulder, his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And of the increase of his government. Has the Bible preachers ever studied Isaiah? Because I've just messed this one up for an exact quote. But of the increase of his government, there shall be no end. Don't look at me. Look at him. Don't draw attention to yourself. Draw attention to him. You've got a choice. If you've got a choice of head table or waiter's tray, take the waiter's tray. Become automated wallpaper, if you will. Just background. Because something bigger than we even imagine is going on. And we get to be there. Let's stand. Let's worship Him. Thank you, Jesus. I want to look to you. I want to look to you. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Praise God. Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord. Oh, God, not to draw attention to ourselves, but to deflect any attention to you. Oh, God, help us, oh, Lord, to be what you'd have us to be. To work in your kingdom, to be part of what you're doing. Help us, Lord. Oh, God. Oh, God. We magnify you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Praise God. Praise God. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Well, this coach may have given one of the strangest halftime pep talks you ever heard. But the thing is, let's point to him. And he'll win this. He'll win this. He's in the process of winning. Amen. In fact, I got a pre-printed copy of the report of this game. Now, you don't know who's going to be the next president. We're still going through that. And there are no pre-printed copies of that information. But I got a pre-printed copy of how this is all going to wind up. And we win. We win. Praise God. And don't ask me the eschatology, that's the doctrine of future things. Don't ask me to explain all of the eschatology of how it's going to be, and where you're going to be, and who's going to be there, and all that. But I do know that when he comes back, riding on a white horse, the cavalry's coming with him. And somewhere in there are going to be a bunch of those that said, look at him. Look at him. Look at him. So we're dismissed this evening. Let's worship him.